Before we go any further, I want you to picture something. You are driving down on a long, empty road at night. No streetlights, no houses. Just the sound of your engine and the dark stretching out in every direction. You glance in the rearview mirror and see two red lights behind you. They look like taillights at first, maybe another car coming up the road. But then you notice something strange. The lights are too high off the ground, too far apart. And they are not getting closer. They are just there, floating, watching. You blink, and the lights blink back. Your chest tightens, your hands grip the wheel. You look again, and the red lights rise into the air, lifting upward like they are attached to something with wings. Something that should not exist. Something that should not be following you. People in Point Pleasant saw those same red lights. They thought they were being followed by a car. They were wrong. They were being hunted by something else, and that is where our story begins. If you ever find yourself driving alone at night, and you notice two red lights in your rearview mirror, do not assume they belong to a car. In Point Pleasant, West Virginia, dozens of people made that mistake. They thought they were being followed by another vehicle. They were wrong. They were being followed by something with wings. Tonight, we are going deep into the real encounters. The ones people still swear happened, and then into the true history behind one of America's most unsettling legends. But first, you need to hear how it all began. The first sighting did not happen on a lonely road or in a dark forest. It happened in a place where people felt safe. It was November of 1966, just outside Clendenin, West Virginia. 5 men were digging a grave for a local burial. The air was cold, the ground was stiff, and the forest around them was quiet in that eerie, winter is coming way. One of the men paused, leaning on his shovel, and looked toward the tree line. Something was standing there. At first, he thought it was a person. Tall, broad, unmoving. But then it unfolded. Wings. Massive wings. The creature rose straight into the air without flapping, as if lifted by invisible strings. The men dropped their tools and ran. Later, when they tried to explain what they saw, they all used the same word, bird-like. But none of them had ever seen a bird with glowing red eyes. 3 days later, the creature returned. This time, 4 witnesses saw it up close. Roger and Linda Scarberry, and Steve and Mary Millette were driving near the old TNT area outside Point Pleasant. The TNT site was a maze of abandoned bunkers and concrete igloos left over from World War II. Locals said the place was haunted long before the creature ever showed up. Strange echoes, odd lights, and the feeling of being watched were common stories among teenagers who snuck out there at night. The couples were laughing, talking, just killing time. Then Linda saw something on the side of the road. She did not scream. She did not point. She just whispered, "What is that?" A tall figure stood near the old power plant. 7 feet, maybe more, gray skin, folded wings, and those eyes, burning red, like coals in a furnace. Roger hit the gas. The car shot forward, but the creature moved faster. It lifted into the air and glided behind them, keeping pace with the car even as Roger pushed past 100 miles per hour. The couple said it did not flap its wings. It just hovered, drifting effortlessly. Its eyes locked on them. When they finally reached town, the creature vanished. But the fear did not. That night, Linda had nightmares of a tall figure standing over her bed. She said it did not speak. It just watched. Over the next few weeks, the sightings multiplied. People claimed to see the creature perched on rooftops, standing in fields, flying over the river, watching from the trees. Some said it chased their cars. Others said it followed them home. A few said it spoke to them not in words, but in visions. One of the most chilling encounters came from a woman named Connie Carpenter. She was driving home from church early one Sunday morning. The sun was barely up, fog hanging low over the road. As she rounded a bend, a figure stepped into the street. She slammed on the brakes. The creature turned toward her. Its wings unfurled. Its eyes glowed bright red. Connie said she felt something. Not fear, but a kind of paralysis, like her mind was being pulled into those eyes. She could not move, could not breathe, could not think. Then the creature lunged. It did not attack her. It did not break the glass. It simply hovered over the hood of her car, staring at her through the windshield. When it finally flew away, Connie sped home, shaking uncontrollably. For weeks afterward, she suffered from a condition doctors called Klieg conjunctivitis, caused by exposure to intense ultraviolet light. She insisted it came from the creature's eyes. And then there was the story of Newell Partridge. One night, his television began flickering violently. A high-pitched whine filled the room, so loud it made his ears ring. His dog, Bandit, ran outside barking into the darkness. Newell grabbed a flashlight and followed him. Two red circles reflected back at him from the field, not like animal eyes, but like glowing reflectors. Bandit bolted toward them. Newell shouted for him to come back. But the dog never returned. The next morning he found paw prints leading into the woods, and then nothing. As the sightings continued, the atmosphere in Point Pleasant changed. People stopped going out at night. Parents kept their children indoors. Hunters refused to enter the woods alone. The sheriff's office received so many calls that they began logging them in a separate notebook. Some reports were simple: a shadow in the trees, a figure on a hill, a pair of red eyes staring through a window. Others were more dramatic. One man claimed he saw the creature perched on top of a billboard, crouched like a gargoyle. When he shined his flashlight on it, the creature opened its wings and launched into the air with a force that shook the sign. Another witness said he saw it standing in the middle of a field, its wings wrapped around its body like a cloak. When he approached, the creature slowly unfolded them and rose into the sky without a sound. A group of teenagers driving through the TNT area late one night said they saw the creature standing on top of one of the concrete bunkers. They said it turned its head toward them, its eyes glowing red, and then it leapt off the bunker and glided directly over their car. They screamed and ducked as it passed overhead. When they looked back, it was gone. People began reporting strange phone calls, buzzing, beeping, metallic voices. Some said they heard garbled messages warning them to stay away from the river. Others said they heard nothing but static, followed by a deep, rhythmic breathing. A few claimed they saw men in dark suits visiting witnesses, asking strange questions, and warning them not to talk. As winter approached, the sightings grew more frantic. People reported lights in the sky, shadowy figures watching from the edges of their property, and a sense of dread that settled over the town like a fog. Some said they had dreams of a bridge collapsing. Others said they felt a presence following them, even when they were indoors. Then came the night everything changed. December 15, 1967, the Silver Bridge, the main connection between Point Pleasant and Ohio, collapsed during rush hour. 46 people died. Cars plunged into the icy river. Screams echoed across the water. Families watched helplessly from the shore. In the chaos, several witnesses claimed they saw something flying above the bridge. A dark figure, with wings. Some said it was watching. Others said it was warning them. A few believed it caused the disaster, but after that night the creature vanished. No more sightings, no more red eyes, no more wings in the sky, just silence. Even though the creature disappeared from Point Pleasant after the Silver Bridge collapse, the legend did not fade away. If anything, it grew stronger. People across the country began reporting encounters with something eerily similar: a tall, winged figure, dark skin, red eyes, silent flight. A presence that felt more like an omen than an animal. The first major wave after Point Pleasant came from rural Kentucky in the late 1990s. A man named Harold Whitaker was driving home from a late shift at a factory. It was close to 2 in the morning, and the road was empty except for the occasional deer. As he rounded a bend, he saw something perched on a telephone pole. At first, he thought it was a large bird, but then it turned its head. Harold said the eyes glowed red, not reflecting his headlights, but glowing from within. The figure unfolded its wings, which stretched wider than the width of the pole itself. Then it glided down toward the road, passing directly over the hood of his truck. Harold said he felt a pressure in his chest, like the air had thickened. He drove home shaking, convinced he had seen the same creature from West Virginia. Around the same time, a family in Ohio reported seeing a tall figure standing in their backyard near the tree line. The father, who had gone outside to investigate a strange noise, said the figure was so still he thought it was a tree stump, but then it opened its wings. He ran inside and locked the door. When he looked out the window, the figure was gone. The next morning, they found large impressions in the snow, spaced far apart, as if something had taken off into the air. In the early 2000s, miners in Chihuahua, Mexico, reported seeing a winged humanoid near the entrance of a mine. They described it as tall, dark, and silent. One miner said it screamed, a sound like metal scraping against metal. Days later, a collapse killed several workers. Survivors insisted the creature had been a warning. They said it appeared again after the disaster, perched on a ridge overlooking the rescue efforts, watching. Then came the Chicago wave. Starting around 2017, the city experienced one of the largest clusters of sightings since Point Pleasant. Why? Dozens of people claimed to see a large, black-winged figure flying over the city. Some saw it near O'Hare Airport. Others saw it perched on rooftops or hovering over the lake. A few said it followed them. One witness, a woman walking her dog near the lakefront, said she saw a tall figure standing near the water. She thought it was a person until it turned. The eyes glowed red, the wings unfolded, and then it rose straight into the air without a sound. She dropped the leash and ran. Her dog followed her, whining the entire way home. A security guard working the night shift at a distribution center near O'Hare reported seeing a figure standing near a fence. He thought it was a trespasser, but when he shined his flashlight on it, the figure turned its head. The eyes glowed red. The wings opened. And then it lifted off the ground, rising straight up like a puppet pulled by invisible strings. The guard quit his job the next day. Another man, a delivery driver, claimed he saw the creature perched on top of a warehouse. He said it crouched like a gargoyle, unmoving, watching the parking lot. When he looked back a second time, it was gone. Moments later, he heard a loud whooshing sound overhead, like something massive had passed through the air. These sightings were not isolated. They came from teachers, police officers, construction workers, nurses, and people with no connection to each other. Many of them described the same details: a tall humanoid figure, dark or gray skin, massive wings, red eyes, and a sense of dread that was hard to explain. Some witnesses said the creature did not just appear. They said it felt like it was already there, watching, waiting for them to notice. A few described a strange buzzing or humming sound before the sighting, similar to the reports from Point Pleasant in the 1960s. One man in Chicago claimed he saw the creature land on the roof of his apartment building. He said it folded its wings and crouched near the edge, staring down at the street. He watched it for nearly a minute before it suddenly leapt into the air and vanished into the night sky. He said the movement was too smooth, too controlled, too deliberate to be a bird. Sightings also appeared in Texas, where a truck driver reported seeing a winged figure flying alongside his vehicle on a deserted highway. He said it kept pace with him for several seconds before veering off into the darkness. In Pennsylvania, a group of teenagers claimed they saw a tall figure standing in an abandoned barn. They said its eyes glowed red, even in total darkness. In Afghanistan, soldiers reported seeing a winged humanoid flying over a mountain ridge. They described it as large, dark, and silent. Some believed it was a drone. Others insisted it was something else entirely. These modern sightings share the same pattern: a tall humanoid figure, dark or gray skin, massive wings, red eyes, silent movement, and a feeling of being watched by something that is not entirely animal. Some believe the creature appears before disasters. Others think it is drawn to places of high energy or emotional distress. A few believe it is something ancient, something that has always been here, watching from the edges of our world, appearing only when it chooses. But to understand the legend fully, we need to go back to where it all began, not the 1960s, much earlier. To understand the Mothman legend, you have to understand Point Pleasant itself. The town is small, quiet, and surrounded by dense forest, rolling hills, and the slow, winding Ohio River. It is the kind of place where stories linger longer than people, where history settles into the soil, and where the past never fully disappears. Long before the creature appeared in the 1960s, the land already carried a heavy weight. Point Pleasant sits near the site of the 1774 Battle of Point Pleasant, a violent clash between colonial militia and the Shawnee. The Shawnee leader, Chief Cornstalk, was known for his intelligence, diplomacy, and leadership. Years later, he came to the fort seeking peace. Instead, he was betrayed, imprisoned, and murdered. According to local lore, he cursed the land with his dying breath. Historians debate whether the curse is real or a later invention, but the story became part of the town's identity. People grew up hearing that the land was marked, that tragedy would follow those who lived there. Whether or not the curse is real, the region has always been a magnet for strange events. The TNT area, where many of the sightings occurred, was built during World War II as a munitions storage site. The bunkers were constructed deep into the earth, covered in thick concrete, and arranged in a maze-like pattern. After the war, the site was abandoned. Chemicals seeped into the soil, wildlife changed. Strange lights were reported in the sky long before the Mothman appeared. Locals whispered about mutated animals, government experiments, and things that moved in the woods at night. When the first sightings happened in 1966, newspapers jumped on the story. A copy editor coined the name Mothman, inspired by a villain from the Batman comics. The name stuck, and suddenly the story was not just local. It was national. Reporters flooded the town. Television crews interviewed witnesses. Skeptics mocked the story, but believers insisted they had seen something real. But what exactly did people see? Some explanations focus on misidentified birds. The Sandhill crane theory is the most common. These birds can stand up to 4 feet tall and have red patches around their eyes. They can also glide long distances. But witnesses insisted the creature was far larger, with a wingspan that dwarfed any known bird. They described humanoid legs, broad shoulders, and a head that seemed more like a person's than an animal's. And cranes do not chase cars at highway speeds or hover silently above bridges. Another explanation is mass hysteria. Once the story hit the papers, more people started seeing the creature. Fear spreads quickly, especially in a small town already steeped in strange history. But mass hysteria does not explain the consistency of the sightings. People who had never met each other described the same details. The same height, the same wings, the same glowing red eyes. Some researchers point to government activity. The TNT area was known for strange lights and noises long before the Mothman. Some believe people were witnessing experimental aircraft or surveillance technology. The Cold War was in full swing, and the government was testing all kinds of classified equipment. But this theory does not explain the creature's humanoid shape or the way it seemed to interact with witnesses. Then there are the paranormal theories. John Keel, the author of the Mothman prophecies, believed the creature was connected to a wave of UFO sightings and men in black encounters in the region. He suggested the Mothman was not a physical creature at all, but an ultraterrestrial being, something that exists outside our reality and occasionally crosses into ours. Keel believed the creature was a harbinger, a warning of the coming bridge collapse. He pointed to the strange phone calls, the prophetic dreams, and the sense of dread that many witnesses reported. Psychologists offer another explanation. Sleep paralysis, night terrors, and the power of suggestion can create vivid experiences, especially in isolated rural areas. But many of the sightings happened in broad daylight, with multiple witnesses, and in situations where sleep or dreams played no role. Folklorists see the Mothman as part of a larger pattern. Many cultures have legends of winged humanoids, omens, and watchers. In some Native American traditions, there are stories of sky beings who appear before disasters. In European folklore, there are tales of black-winged figures that warn of death. The Mothman fits into this archetype, a modern version of an ancient symbol. But the most unsettling theory is the simplest: that the creature is real, that it is something unknown, something that does not fit into any category we understand, something that appears when it chooses, watches from the shadows, and leaves behind more questions than answers. After the Silver Bridge collapse, the sightings in Point Pleasant stopped. Some believe the creature left because its purpose was fulfilled. Others think the disaster drove it away. A few believe it still watches the town, waiting for the next moment to reveal itself. But the sightings did not stop everywhere else. Reports of similar winged creatures have appeared in Chicago, Mexico, Russia, the United Kingdom, Afghanistan, and multiple states across the United States. Always the same description: tall, gray or black, wings, red eyes, silent movement. A presence that feels more like a warning than a threat. Some believe the Mothman appears before disasters, a warning, not a monster. Others believe it is drawn to places of high energy or emotional distress. A few believe it is something ancient, something that has always been here, watching from the edges of our world. Whatever the truth is, the legend refuses to die. The creature has become part of American folklore, a symbol of mystery, fear, and the unknown. And whether it is a misidentified animal, a paranormal entity, a government experiment, or something else entirely, one thing is certain: the Mothman has left a mark on our culture that will never fade. If you made it this far into the story, thank you for spending your time with me tonight. If you enjoy deep dives into legends, mysteries, and the darker corners of American folklore, make sure you subscribe to the channel. It helps more than you know. Hit the like button, turn on notifications, and share this video with someone who loves a good mystery. And tell me in the comments what you think the Mothman really is. A warning, a creature, a spirit, or something we have not even begun to understand. Your theories help shape what we explore next, and I read every single one.